And today we're going to be going over SciFinder. And SciFinder is a database for searching basically for chemicals. Um, it is, you can search text like you do for most other databases, but you can also actually draw chemical structures and search for the chemicals or the reactions. So when you start using SciFinder, you want to go to the library homepage, library.pcom.edu, and then go to Collections and Databases. Then S for SciFinder, and if you scroll down, so before you use it for the first time, you just have to click the link here that says first register for a personal account. Because for whatever reason, there's no actual link to this on the usual page. So just click that, click next, accept, and then just fill out your contact information. If you're a student, don't have an area of research that's on here, just do other field or whatever's closest. Doesn't really matter. And then email, you want to use your PCOM email address. All right. So once you do that, then you'll get an email with your account information. Then you can click on just SciFinder. So to use SciFinder, you do have to log in. And if you're off campus, you'll go in through the proxy. So it'll be able to link you to everything as if you're on campus. All right. So there are three main parts of SciFinder here. We have reference search, substance search, and reaction search. So I'm going to start with the reference search because that works pretty much like other databases, so it's more familiar. All right. The one different thing about using the reference search, it starts off on a research topic search. And for this, unlike most databases, it wants you to use like sentence fragments. Usually you just leave out all the small words and just use like keywords. You can do that here, but it's even better if you try to use if you use the exact phrase that you're interested in. So I'm going to type in transdermal drug delivery of insulin. All right. Then just click search. And what I've gotten are different, they try to find the phrases that you're looking for and separate them out. So the first checkbox we have here is 35 references were found containing exactly the phrase you entered. So you're going to want to look at that. The next one, it found the two concepts, transdermal drug delivery and insulin, and they're closely associated with one another. Basically in the same sentence, both in the title, both keywords, etc. And here there's 415 references. So I'm going to choose this for now. Depending on the phrase, you might get like one reference finding what you entered, and then 50 with the two concepts. So it depends on how many you want to look at. Next one, the two concepts are present anywhere in the reference. That's over 1,000, but we have enough to look at from these two. And the last two are just they found one of the concepts you entered. So I chose these top two here, and I'm going to click Get References. All right. So now we have just a lot of different references here, and it's sorted by a session number, which is when it was added to the database, so roughly time of publication. But SciFinder has some really great tools to filter down what you found. And there's two concepts that we want to look at, and that's analyze and refine. So analyze is looking at all the results you get and picking out like what shows up the most. Refine is letting you decide what you want to look for without figuring out how often it appears. So for example, to show you the difference, let's look at year of publication. So in Analyze, go to Analyze By and go to Publication Year. And that shows us that there were 33 published in 2012, 31 in 2010, etc., which is probably less useful when you're looking for like recent papers. But if you go to Refine and do Refine by Publication Year, you can just type in what you want. So let's do 2015 to the present. All right, and up here, it shows you, these are called breadcrumbs that show you exactly what you've done, and you've gotten down to 81 references. Now, if you go back to Analyze here, sometimes this is going to be useful. Most useful thing is language. So if you're getting a lot of papers that you can't actually read, you could just click on English, and then it's down to, well, right now you can see 65 references with the English language displayed. When you're doing Analyze By, you'll see a yellow bar up here, and you have to choose to keep the analysis or not. So if you click Keep It, then it goes onto the breadcrumbs here, and then we're down to 65 references. Refine, other useful things are document type. So SciFinder searches Medline, which is what PubMed searches, and also chemistry database, which I can't think of the name of right now. But basically, you're going to get a lot of patents and papers along with other publication types. So I'd recommend, if you're looking for something specific, just go to Refine and actually click what document types you want. For journal, that'll get all journal articles. You could click Review to just get review articles. You get letters, books, clinical trials, and then patents. So let's do journal right now, and I'll show patents. All right. So we're down to 46 articles in English from 2015 to the present. Okay, so let's go over how to actually get one of these. If you click on the article, you will get a lot of information on what's in here. So here you have the usual stuff, the abstract. Over here you have the source. And if you go down here, there is a lot of information on the substances, which works a lot like it's in PubMed, like you click on mesh terms or keywords. And the substances are what makes it interesting. So this grabs every substance that's discussed in this paper, and then you could actually click on it, and then learn more about that substance or search for more papers with it. So we'll go in more depth about this later. And what's also great is it gives you links to all the citations in the paper. I say all, but a few of them are not actually in SciFinder, so it's not going to link directly to it. But you can go down here and click on any article, almost any article that's cited, or if you go up here to get related citations, you could get citing articles, aka newer papers that cite this, or get cited articles, aka everything down here that the paper cited. And this is really useful if you're trying to find more papers on a topic. If you find an older paper that's exactly what you want, then once you get one article, you could just go to see what has cited this. So this is a newer article, so there's nothing actually in here. But if you go to something popular or something older, then you can basically go down a rabbit hole of just papers that cited this paper, so it's going to be related enough that it can be really useful to your research. All right, So once you found an article you like, you just want to go to link to other sources. And that's going to take you to the full text of the record. So here, it'll take you to the HTML. And since we logged in through the library, you're in through the proxy, so you don't have to worry about making sure it knows you're on campus and we have access to it. And then you just have the article. All right, let me get rid of this. And let me go back to through the breadcrumbs. So you are not supposed to use the back button when you use this, because sometimes it just really doesn't like that. But so what you want to do instead is, let's go to keep analysis language, because that's right before we decided we only wanted journal articles. Now, I'm going to refine, take out journal, and search for patents. All right, and now we have 18 references that are all patents. So before I choose the top one, I said before it's sorted by a session number, which is basically date, and sort by the actual publication year. But what you might want to do is sort by citing references. So once again, these are new, so the most cited reference only has one citation. You could see right over here, it says 1. But when you're looking for something on a specific topic, then, or especially if you're like just trying to get a look at what's going on in the field and what is important, it's a really good idea to sort by the most cited, the citing references. Then you could take a look and see what's the most important in the field, and then go forward, see what papers have cited that. So actually, let me click on this, and so here's what it looks like if you have cited references. This one is cited by another patent, and then you could just go through like same as any other search. So let's click on a patent here. Has the figures in here, has patent information. And so it says there are patent pack options. Unfortunately, this costs a lot of extra money, so you're going to ignore it. If you want to get a patent, you just want to click link to other sources here again. And that's going to give you a link to where that patent is hosted. eSpaceNet has European patents. There's a US patent office for US ones. And it'll just take you to wherever you could find it, and then go right here. Basically, if you have any trouble getting a patent, just shoot me an email, because sometimes it can be far more complicated than it should be. But we could get you to it. All right. Any questions so far? Okay, now for the fun part. I'm going to go back over here to explore. Actually, before we get to the fun part, let me go down here to some of the other reference searches. First of all, you could search for a document identifier. So if you know the DOI of the paper, just copy and paste it here. It's the quickest way to find it. The other important search is the journal search. If you know so if you have the citation, it's easiest to just put in the journal name and then the author last name, title words in here. So that's a quick way to find a specific paper. All right, now the fun stuff. Under substances here, we want the chemical structure search. Have any of you searched using chemical structures before? All right, Stephanie has. Okay, so first I'm going to show you how to do this by drawing it. Then I'm going to show you a slightly easier way to do it. So if you don't want to go into this, just hold on a little bit. But if you click to edit on the structure editor here, that's going to give you a way to just draw the structure that you want to search for. So I printed out aspirin structure here. It's a pretty simple one. And down here, you have a bunch of the most common things that you're going to draw. So here we have different rings, different bonds, most common atoms, and stereochemistry over here. So I'm going to start with the benzene ring. And it gives me the ring. I'm just going to click and drag it to the orientation I want it to be in, which is right there. Then I'm going to click on a single bond and just click up here where it meets. It goes bright red, and then it puts it in the proper direction. I could also click here, hold, and then drag it where I want it to go, right there. And now let me get a double bond and just click there. And the angles here are a bit skewed, but that doesn't actually matter if you're searching, only if you're actually going to like print it. So let me draw the rest of these bonds. Oops. And you can also just click on a single bond to make it a double bond and triple bond. All right, now for the actual atoms. If you click oxygen here, you could just stick them where they're meant to be. And also down here where it says oxygen, because I clicked on it, you could type in everything that you actually want in there. So I want OH, and that goes right here. All right, so that's the basics of drawing. You're probably not going to want to go too in depth with your drawing. If you're doing something really complicated, you might want to look into drawing in a specific program like ChemDraw, but you'll probably be okay with what we have here. Also, here there is a link to structure templates, and that just gives you a lot of templates for more complicated structures. So if you don't feel like drawing a million different rings in there, you could check the template, see if there's anything related to what you want. And there we have like things you probably don't feel like drawing if you don't have to. All right. Also up here, under Drawing Editor, we have a few options. We could change this to a reaction search. And this is now exactly the same as if you, over here, you just clicked on a reaction structure search. All it does is add reaction arrows to it. So got an arrow in here, that's the reactant, and then I could add whatever I want. Also plus signs, but I'm not going to do that now. There's other ways to search for reactions, which I'll show you. And the last thing you could do is Marcouche. And Marcouche searches are used for patents, basically when you're patenting a range of structures. And I won't go into this too much, but if you're searching for a range of things, if you're interested in patenting a substance, then you just meet with me for more information on that. All right, so going back to structure here, and you could do either an exact search or a substructure search. Basically, is this the entire substance or is it just a part of a bigger structure? This is aspirin, I want an exact search here. All right, it's now put in here and you could just click search. All right, and now you get a bunch of different results here. And I'm going to click on the first one because I could see that has about 4,000 references. You can actually use analyze or refine on this as well. But let's just click here. All right, here's a lot of information on the substance. And if you click on other names, you could see in the very long list of other names, aspirin is on here. So you could double check that it's the right thing. Then down here, there's a lot of information on properties and spectra that I won't go into. But if you need chemical information or the properties of any substance, you could search for it in here. Now, there's a few interesting things on here. Get references, get reactions, and get commercial sources. If you click on get references, this will get you every article, paper, book, everything that's in this database that includes aspirin in it. You could also limit results to something, like if you want to limit it to adverse effect, like toxicity, or biological study, preparation of aspirin. I'm just going to get everything for now. And then here we have some patents. And this will work just like you searched for the references before. Let me click back here. You could also get reactions. So this is probably the easiest way to search for reactions. If you want to look for the production of a specific substance, just do get reaction, limit by reaction role product. And then you actually see the reactions. And you'll notice there are 222 reactions here. This does not mean it's from 222 papers. If an individual paper has like 6 different reactions, they'll all be listed separately. But if you go down here, it gives you just an overview of the steps or stages. And you could actually limit it by, you could limit it to a certain reagent or see what's most common, solvents. Again, language, a number of steps. Let's do 5 and see how that goes. And yeah, there you can see what something more complicated looks like. Then you could just click on each of these, and that just goes to the search for them. So clicking back on aspirin here, last thing of interest is get commercial sources. And that lets you actually search for who is selling this substance, which is really nice. It tells you the purity, quantity, whether it's in stock or not, and when it ships. You could also limit it to certain commercial sources, depending on where you, for instance, if you have to buy from a certain place, buying substances here. You could also, if you have a company you like, set preference and set it as a preferred company. Then over here, you can analyze by whatever you need. So if you analyze by purity, you could get over 99% pure. And then just click keep analysis up here. You could do ships within if you need it within 1 week. Or you could also, right now it's sorted by the name of the source, but you could sort it by when it ships, whether or not it's actually in stock, the quantity, or whatever else you need in here. All right. Any questions about searching for a substance? Okay, so after I showed you the complicated method of doing that, I'm going to go to Explore and go to Substance Identifier. So whenever you're using something that has basically has a name, especially if it has a brand name, if it's used as a drug, then you can just type that into the substance identifier. And you don't have to know any sort of scientific name for it. So I am going to type Lipitor. And that's just the brand name. So let me search for that. And it pops right up here. And if you go to Other Names, View More, you can confirm that, yes, this is Lipitor. And then you could search for it like that. You could also search for the something that's useful is the CAS registry number. And that's just an identifying number given to every substance within SciFinder. If you want to find something again and it's not like, it doesn't have like a simple brand name, then I'd recommend just copying down the registry number, and then you could search for that in the substance identifier. So that's the basics of using SciFinder. Do you guys have any more questions or want to go more in depth into anything?
I mean, how do you export the references?
So exporting the references. Let me get references from here and grab one. You could just check the ones that you want, then click export up here, and you could choose either all or selected, and then just send it as a, it's selected as citation export format.ris. So let me export that. I'm going to save it to the desktop. And then what you want to do is when you go into RefWorks, you'll be able to import a reference and then just select the RIS file. And then actually, if I could remember my RefWorks login, I'll show you that right now. RefWorks. Excellent. I actually remember that. So to do that, you just want to go to Add, Import References, and select the file from your computer. Let me find that on the desktop. There we go. And then when it asks RIS format, just say that it's RIS format and import. And then it added all 3 documents right from SciFinder. All right, anything else?
Thank you.
All right. So yeah, if you have any questions about this, I worked with this a lot in my last job, so feel free to come to me if you need to know how to work the chemistry drawing or anything.